Do we need better systems or do we need better people? We're always going to need to ask that. Until we live in a utopia, we need to be making sure we got quality people who have good examples of how to be, and that we have quality systems that actually solve problems instead of creating them, which is what we have. So I think we've become something like a status conscious society almost overnight. And I think social media had a lot to do with that. And that it pretty much um, appeals to a certain personality, this idea of status. First of all, it'll appeal to people in the 1% and the 10%, the very well to do people. Of course, status oriented society means those are the people who get praised. But the people who settle for being, I don't know, some lesser quality citizen, some lower quality, some lower status person comparatively, but glad to have others underneath them. This this is the quality of people that we're getting. And in that sort of situation, we find that we are all administrating a system that is all afflicting us and even demoting us to maybe a third class of citizen or a fourth class of citizen. So I don't want to live in a caste system. This is America. Seriously. I think it's important that we actually hear from people. So concerning systems, if there are actual systemic issues, you think that maybe that would be easier to talk about because we can point to things in concrete terms. I hadn't heard until recently, in recent years, the validity of of the challenge that the welfare system actually imposed on black families, very much incentivizing the father to not be in the household, to qualify the rest of his family for whatever benefit might be more than what he's able to bring in his given situation or his position, his job, whatever he's got going on. I mean, he might as well maybe just try to deliver some cash or something every 2 weeks or something. I mean, trying to look out for your family means leaving the home, and then you get these broken families. That's a bad systemic issue that I'm far from because I'm not a black man with a family. And it's now 2024, but I hadn't been hearing that. Anybody hear that one? That's a really good example of a systemic issue. You're incentivizing the wrong thing here. We do a lot of that. Another way, I think it's important to hear from everybody because we are so diverse, and you are exposed to different parts of the system than I am, and I am exposed to different parts than you are. And instead of silencing each other, which is what we do, we often use our First Amendment only to attack each other's First Amendment. I think that could be I think that there could be consequences of that could last a long time. We could lose this. I don't want to lose this, so need to kind of stick up for each other's right to speak and each other's right to participate. Another really good systemic stuff, systemic issues that I'm further from but interested in were related to Obamacare. Obamacare had it it really hurt a lot of people who might have been able to at least pay for some of the care that they need. Like my mother and father, I go to the VA, so I know all about different kinds of systemic issues within that system. But my mother and father, they want to do anything with a doctor. Their deductible from Obamacare had gone up to like $4,000. It's like buying a car to do anything with the doctor. That's $4,000 before they start paying for anything. Better get a big surgery. Anyway, yeah, that's something that I would be far from, that I don't understand, and I know that it was affecting people negatively, even though we meant for pretty much everyone to be able to get health care. it kind of hurt some people's ability to get health care. Also, the way it affected many employers. It was interesting to hear from a boss that I had how, because of this Obamacare, he wasn't able to give a raise when he might want to, or he might not be able to give more hours. He's got to keep you under 30, or he's got to pay everybody benefits, or some such thing. He's much closer to that issue. But I would say I don't know shit about Obamacare. I just know what these people told me. So it's important to hear from everybody, because everybody. How come I went so long without ever hearing that about how the welfare system had really been requiring to qualify the woman and her kids for assistance? You can't have a man in the house. I mean, how come we didn't hear that coming up for the longest time? Now you have white people who also, two-parent privilege, as they call it, is it's we're losing that, and now white people are. And the way that system seems to work, as far as I can tell from people around me who are married with kids, but now divorced with kids, passing them back and forth, the woman always gets the kids, right? For most of the time, almost always. And she gets a paycheck. And it incentivizes some women, seriously, to just screw it. I don't need to work. I'll have another kid. I'll be pregnant again. Take my leave from my job. And now I have a check for 18 years, That's really happening. And people don't talk about that, but come on. I mean, you know you're going to get custody. You got this man around, and what do you need him for? You need his money. Damn. Anyway, those are systems that people will defend, and we got some issues. So anyway, we're so diverse. I can't see what kind of issues are affecting you. You can't quite see what's affecting me, and what we will make a mistake of doing is invalidating each other's right to complain, using your First Amendment to only attack someone's First Amendment. An authoritarian system always counts on the idea of victim blaming and people punching down. When we've got quite an example now over the last 10, 20 years, who knows how long, from liberal media, over the last 10 years at least, we've got this example of people playing victim. The answer is now a part of the conservative media's narrative. The response, overcorrecting the idea of playing victim, which is one big stupid problem enough, but the idea now that because of it we blame victims. You're not allowed to be a victim. That person's always broke. It only costs $15. It's like, don't defend the bad system. If you can give the benefit of the doubt to the person who's got a complaint against the system, a lot of people find power in siding with the system. It's not in your interest to do that. It's in your interest to ensure that that person at least maintains their right to complain, their right to disagree, their right to call out systemic problems. You're going to fall under the same systems. So it's too easy to defend the system that's afflicting someone else, except the water rises. We can be priced out of our ability to drive. That registration goes up and up. I don't understand that. It's a sticker. Know what I'm saying? It's a sticker. That's what I'm paying for each year. We can get priced out of our ability to drive. You don't want to have gaps. Where is that middle class even gone? We could end up in a two-tier society with the haves and the have-nots, or we could end up in something like a society that we seem to be organizing into, which could have it that we have like a first class and a second class and a third class of citizens. A lot of people come here because they don't like that kind of behavior. This is a place where everybody gets a shot. So I feel like we were founded on the rights of the individual, and that's why that Constitution being old is just a silly thing. It's written in a timeless language where inalienable rights, that's still relevant today. It's true to my being. All of the language, most of that language concerning property, concerning individual rights, this does not become outdated. Anyway, we should be defending individual rights and the Constitution and our Bill of Rights and each other's rights, because we can too gladly cost each other's rights and somehow claim some sense of status by it, because you can afford something that person can't a lot of times. You don't want to necessarily find much superiority in that, because we can keep pricing people out. The water can rise, and you can be defending it when you invalidate the person who's down there drowning, telling you, like, hey, this is getting a little unreasonable. I mean, you saw the food prices and stuff, right? I don't know if I should go down that road. I won't go down that road. I'm going to break it right here. I'm going to cut that off. So, I don't know. I feel like I stayed on point well enough. I might post this.